guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am back today with a reading as promised for Jaguar Wright. I asked you to send in your questions on Instagram and YouTube that you wanted me to raise over to Spirit about Jaguar. We're going to connect to her energy, raise the questions and see what comes back. Jaguar Wright has made a lot of claims about stars such as P.Diddy, Aaliyah, Alicia Keys, Jill Scott, a lot of people, and I think you guys want to see as much as I do whether they're true. I didn't know who Jaguar Wright was until a few weeks ago, and I just fell into a whole of her videos, and I just find her very fascinating, especially as a character. So if you do enjoy this reading, please do hit a lovely thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to join our lovely community. I upload spiritual and psychic content over here on this channel, so if that's something you enjoy, please do stick around. Helps us out a lot, helps us to grow the community. And let's get into reading for Jaguar Wright. Woo! So Jaguar Wright was born as Jacqueline Suzette Wright on the 17th of May 1977, which makes Jaguar Wright a Taurus. Now, I was not surprised about this at all, because I can see the Taurian traits in her, where she's very stubborn, she's very headstrong. She's also very passionate in what she believes in. We'll see if that's true. But what she's saying, she's very passionate and she believes in it very much. A lot of people have said she has mental health issues. I'm not sure whether she's confirmed she's bipolar. Obviously she's been through a lot in her life. I think she has a lot of childhood trauma. She lost her son sadly, so she's dealt with a lot of emotional trauma that I do feel like she's healed, because I feel like Jaguar Wright is a spiritual lady, but she's definitely a Taurus through and through. That passion just comes through boldly. As I connect with Jaguar Wright's energy, Spirit are taking me back to when she was younger, because I don't know her music. I've actually never listened to any of her music or anything like that. And she goes on and on about her being in the music industry, how she didn't sell out, but how she also feels guilty about, you know, standing by and witnessing things happening to women in the industry and not saying anything. Some people say she's bitter, some people say she's right. I personally believe a lot of what she says. I do feel like a lot of what she says is true, but we will tap into that. But Spirit take me back to her earlier career, and they make me feel like she was actually quite insecure. There is an insecurity, maybe not now, but definitely with Jaguar Wright as a young woman, 20, 21, 22, early 20s, where she didn't feel as desired as other women around her were. I feel like Jaguar Wright really tried to fit in this like hip hop box, and she felt a lot of the time very unauthentic, which I feel like now is why she's gone from like one extreme to the other. Now she's like completely in her authenticity, where she's really trying to speak her truth, which maybe she's overexerting it on this end of the scale, whereas before she was really underexerting it. And I feel like there is a lot of guilt. Spirit draw me to Jaguar Wright's stomach, and I feel like she holds a lot of guilt. She holds a lot of turmoil in her tummy. She's actually said this. She actually said she feels sick about some of the things she saw and didn't do anything about, and I can feel that in her body. She was left out a lot. I feel like in her earlier, in her career, she was left out a lot. She was always an outsider, and I feel like she always felt like an outsider. And I feel like actually in the beginning, Jaguar Wright just wanted to fit in. That's what the energy I feel. I feel like in the beginning, she just wanted to fit in. I feel like there was a while before she really found her footing and found her voice and found out who she was. Now, I know her through these videos, but I know she is, for any of you who don't know, she's an R&B singer, rapper, writer, songwriter. But I didn't know that. I didn't know who she was before seeing her talk about, you know, Aaliyah, P.Diddy, Alicia Keys, and other artists in the industry. They're bringing me to Jill Scott, and they're saying, like, sisters. Because first of all, they said to me sister in the industry, and then they showed me Jill Scott. Jill Scott definitely betrayed Jaguar Wright in some kind of way, because I can feel like this is Jaguar and Jill's on the right, and I just feel like Spirit are making Jill turn her back on Jaguar. A lot of people turned their back on Jaguar. Let's say that. A lot of people turned their back on her because I feel like when she did find her voice, she did speak out and say what you're doing is not right. And that's in terms of money laundering, that's in terms of how do I put this, the violation of women. She did speak out, and she did finally have a voice, and people were saying, no, you don't speak out about those things, you don't say anything about those things. And you know, for a while I feel like she did try and suppress it, but then it just turned into this anger. You know, and you'll see that in a lot of Tauruses. A lot of Tauruses will suppress, and then all of a sudden it comes out like boom, and as the bull they charge. So yeah, there was a lot of suppressed anger, emotions, and she kept quiet for a long time, I think, within the industry, just watching these people gain their money and live their lifestyles. And then she was like, okay, enough's enough. And that's when she's come out with these claims, which we can only say are alleged. However, I do feel some of them, most of them are true. So some of you sent in your questions, thank you so much for sending them in, and let's get those raised to spirit now. So we'll start over on Instagram. Okay, so are the things she's saying true? I feel with Jaguar Wright that she fabricates. Okay, so I feel like there is an underlying truth to what she says. I don't feel like it's all not true. I would actually say it's more like 70% truth, 30% fabrication, because what happens is she speaks the truth and then it emotes her. So she gets this, she's very emotive, she's very passionate, as we see. She gets very emotionally attached to things. As much as she would probably disagree with that, she'd probably say she's strong, and you know, and she definitely is, but she definitely gets emotionally tied and attached to situations, especially if she has memories linked to them, because there's a lot that goes on in Jaguar Wright's head, especially after the passing of her son. Obviously, that traumatized her deeply. And that's another guilt she carries. Jaguar Wright is someone who carries a lot of guilt, and I feel like even when she's going out there and trying to speak the truth, she can't shake this guilt. But she practices healing. I see her practicing healing. I see her practicing meditation. She works a lot with herbal remedies, and she tries to heal what she's been through and what she didn't do anything about. So yes, I believe that the basis of what she's saying is true. However, I do believe there is a certain amount of fabrication on it, just because of the way she gets so emotionally involved. Tea break. So, are people out to harm her? Spirit instantly said yes. Now, she knows this. Jaguar Wright is someone who knows that people are out to get her the more she speaks. I feel like she's hired maybe security or people to be around her just in case. She's not scared though. I feel like Jaguar Wright is very like in a way of being like bring it on kind of thing. Like I think she's openly said that as well, and she's not kidding. She's like bring it on, because I feel like she's so angry. There's so much emotion here. There's so much emotion. Sadness, guilt, fear. I just feel it all in her chakras, from like her throat down to like it's just all encompassed in her body. And she's angry, and she knows that the more she speaks, the more people will come after her. And for me, like Spirit is showing me a paintbrush, so it's not more like they're gonna physically hurt her, it's more like they're gonna tarnish her name. So they'll say things like, oh, she's crazy. That's a classic one, by the way. The industry love to throw that out there for anyone who speaks against them. Oh, they're crazy. Oh, they've got mental health issues. Oh, can't you see she's so angry? And that's where Jaguar Wright doesn't really help herself, because she's so passionate. Tauruses are like that when they get passionate. I get like that, like when I get very passionate about things, and it comes across sometimes as anger, as aggression, but it's not. It's just you're so heavily passionate about what you're speaking about. She definitely holds that trait. So yeah, it's more like, let's tarnish her name, let's make sure she can't get any work, let's do that kind of thing. So it's more like subtle, which then angers her more, which makes her look more crazy, and then less reliable for like source and information. So yes, I definitely feel like people are out to get her. Spirit pull me to P.Diddy. He's like, P.Diddy is like someone who is like, do not say anything about my brand and do not say anything about my name that could tarnish my coin. And because Jaguar Wright is trying to do that, he's like, well, I'm, you know, fair game, you know, I'm gonna come after you. So yeah, I do feel people are out to harm her, but not maybe physically, just like in the terms of business, work, reputation. Is it true the involvement of the very famous people being involved with her death? Oh, okay, so this must be about Aaliyah. This person's written, is it true the involvement of the very famous people being involved with her death and the call she got about Dame being in the hospital and she needed to come right away? This is something that really, because I found Jaguar Wright through Aaliyah. So I was listening to Aaliyah on YouTube, and you know how YouTube starts just automatically playing videos one after the other. Well, after Aaliyah had been on, up pops this woman and I'm like, what? And she says that, if you haven't heard her, what she said about Aaliyah, she said that the reason Aaliyah was in such a panic to get on the plane was because she had received a phone call that had said Damon Dash was in hospital in Miami and that she needed to get there right away. And Damon Dash has apparently said since that he never made that call, and we don't know where that call came from. So someone has asked here, are famous people involved with Aaliyah's passing? And was that phone call, did that phone call happen? Like what was the reasoning? Yeah, you know, what about the phone call? Yeah, okay. When it comes to Aaliyah, spirit make me feel that Jaguar Wright knows what she's talking about. That's the exact phrase they're saying to me. She knows what she's talking about. Sorry, I hate talking about this because it's something that's, even now, talking about Aaliyah's death saddens me so much. We all know Aaliyah was scared to get on planes. We all know she was not a diva. You know, she wasn't someone who was going to demand to get on a plane, especially if the pilot said the baggage was too much. Was there famous people involved in Aaliyah's death? Spirits say not famous people that you would know of, okay? Oh, this makes me feel sick. Sorry, it's really hard to... No. Okay. This feels really heavy all of a sudden. So Jaguar Wright said the call was made. I do feel that call was made. There was a call that was made. Whether it was about Damon Dash being in hospital or not, I don't know. But what they make me feel is that there was a man in a black suit. He would have worn a black suit quite a lot. I feel like he was maybe part of the record label or something. And Aaliyah was going to do something that he didn't favour, or she was going to go somewhere that he didn't want her to go after flying out of the island. A call was made to divert her to where they wanted her to be, and they made it urgent because she wasn't going to rush to get... Does this make sense? Does that make sense? There was a call that was made to get Aaliyah off the island quicker than she had intended to be, to divert her to where they wanted her to be. But I don't feel like it was to cause her passing. I don't feel like it was to cause her passing. Her passing just happened, unfortunately, as a result. However, these people knew it wouldn't be safe. Spirit tells me they still knew it wouldn't be safe, and they did it anyway. Ooh, I feel like her uncle had some involvement in that as well. I feel like Damon Dash had anything to do with that call. I feel like that call was set up by people on her label, because they just keep saying they're in the industry, but they're not like in front of the cameras, they're behind. So that makes me feel like they're people that are part of the record label. So what she's saying again was true, but it wasn't 100% true. See, I feel like with Jaguar Wright, she's got her facts, but they're not 100% factual. So I feel like we have to take what she's saying and take what we believe is true from it. Go to YouTube and see what you asked over there. Sorry, I have to laugh because every time, I know it's not funny, but every time she talks about P.Diddy and Mary J. Blige, I can't help myself but just completely crack up. Like, she's just so, she's so blunt about it. It's just insane. So what did Diddy and Mary J. Blige do to her? Again, this is about that insecurity and that shunning out. Now, I feel, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of what she said about Diddy and Mary J. Blige is true. A lot of what she has said about Diddy and Mary J. Blige is true, but again, people are saying that word where it's fabricated, and that's the word they're saying. They're saying it's fabricated. So what does the word fabricated mean? Forgive me, but I just want to be clear on that, because I feel like if it's exaggerated, then that would be in order to deceive. Okay, so yes, so the basis of it would be true, but then Jaguar Wright gets in her feelings, exaggerates slightly, and then blows all of the actual factual information out of the water. So she kind of like damages her own truth telling by getting so emotional about it. Diddy to Jaguar Wright just confirmed her insecurities, and I feel like Mary J. Blige did as well. Again, it was very catty. I feel like in the beginning Jaguar Wright felt so insecure, so out of place, and I feel like there were words thrown around like ugly, doesn't fit in, doesn't make the mold, isn't good enough, can't do this, can't do that, oh let's say we're gonna do this for her and then let's take it away. A lot of like spiteful energy, but I feel like that's more coming from Diddy. I feel like Diddy moved people around to turn people against each other. So Mary J. Blige and Jaguar Wright may have well once been friends, but then Diddy got in the way and was like, oh no, I'm gonna give Jaguar Wright that opportunity, and then actually when she comes for it, I'm gonna give it to Mary J. Blige. You know, that's the kind of man he is. So that's what happened. I feel like it was a lot of two-faced backstabbing. What she said is true, but then she's exaggerated it, and now it's lost all of its kind of value. Someone said, ooh, Miss Jaguar is honestly so interesting. She really is. I'd really like to know if there's an element of truth to her claims, and if she's purposely being framed as unstable in order to make those claims seem false. Yes, she is absolutely being painted in that way, like completely. So, but she doesn't help herself because, but what I will say is this, she, if you look at, recently she came out and spoke about DMX and she's calmed down. So I feel like she's realised that that's what people are trying to do, and she's now taking a calmer approach. And I feel like she's got a lot more to say. I feel like she's got a lot more to say about modern celebrities, you know, modern day celebrities, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it, but you have to remember that anyone who speaks out about anyone in the industry is going to get taken down for it. So yes, in the beginning where she was coming out so passionately and angrily about Mary J. Blige and P. Diddy, yes, they were like, she's crazy. And she made it easy for them to say that. She made it super easy for them to say that. But now I feel like she's a clever lady. She's a clever lady. And she's like, you're not going to do that to me. So she's going to come from a more calmer approach. Does her husband have her best interest at heart? It seems so, just curious. Now, I don't know anything about her husband. Like I said, I just discovered who she was literally like a few weeks ago. So I believe so, because the energy I feel between her and her husband is a friendship, more so than like a loving sexual relationship. I feel they get on, they laugh, they joke. He puts up with her craziness. He feels a lot more chill than she is. He feels a lot more laid back. So yeah, I think her husband does have her best interest at heart. Is there any truth to what she said about Aaliyah, more specifically the mysteries around her passing? Again, I feel like she exaggerated slightly, but then I feel like there is some truth to what she said. I don't feel like it's completely true. I feel like a call was made, but I feel like the call was more to get Aaliyah to a place that Aaliyah didn't intend to go, rather than for the plane to come down and it to end in the tragic way that it did. Do you know what? There's still so much mysteriousness around Aaliyah's death, and I feel like Aaliyah, in passing, doesn't like that to be homed into, because she'd rather that people remembered her and her legacy and who she was and her music, rather than conspiracy and darkness and everything like that. She's not about that. So I feel like whenever I go to tap into that, even when I read for her, she doesn't want to talk about that. She doesn't want to talk about her past. She doesn't want to talk about her passing. She doesn't want to talk about anything like that. She'd rather people just focus on her music. So it's hard to really get in there. The call was made. I do feel like it was a man that made it. I feel like it was a white man. I don't feel like it was Damon Dash, and I feel like it was to divert her away from where she wanted to go and to take her to where they wanted her to be. Yeah. So that's all of your questions. I feel like the main ones were really going to be about Aaliyah, and just genuinely what she said is true. Now, before I end off on this, since I asked for your questions to come in, Jaguar Wright has made claims about DMX's passing, and I feel like what she has said is true. I feel like the majority of what Jaguar Wright says is true, but I feel like it gets exaggerated through her emotions. So she gets so emotionally involved about it that she starts going off on a tangent. But if we actually focus on what she said in the beginning, I feel like she's speaking the truth. And actually, I said it was 70-30 true. I'm actually going to go as far to say it's 80% true and 20% emotionally exaggerated. But even in the emotional exaggeration, the truth is still there. I hope Jaguar Wright keeps talking. I hope she keeps sharing, because there are so many secrets and stories about the industry that still need to be exposed. So many things we don't know, so many things that go on, and so many people that are mistreated by that industry. And I hope she keeps talking. I can't wait to see what she's going to say, because I do feel like there's more to come out from her. Spirit are saying June to me, so I feel like we've got more stuff to come from her. Maybe something in June is coming from Jaguar Wright. Yeah, I would keep listening to what she's saying and take what you believe and leave what you don't, but do your own research. Whenever people come out and say things, don't just dismiss, don't just believe, go out and do your own research. Thank you for being with me today, lovelies. I really do hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, remember to hit a lovely thumbs up. If you'd like to join our community for more spiritual and psychic videos, then please do hit the subscribe button, and I will see you soon for another video. Bye!